guys. Once again, welcome to another Professional Goblins podcast. I'm one of your wonderful hosts, Scott Gladstein, and with me, as always, is
Mike Myler. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing?
and because she gets upset when I introduce her not this way, the stupendous, magical, quasi-feathered, feathered friend is behind you.
Yeah, she's around.
Other host.
Savannah Broadway will probably be accompanied by my bird wife, Felly, soon.
And tonight,
it's a little plump.
Yeah, well, she's been having eggs. She's been eating for 4, so.
Aw, that's horrible. So tonight we have a very special guest. God, I love his book. This is actually I'll let him introduce himself.
Name, Scott.
I know.
Jeez,
God, I love your book. How you feeling tonight? No, this is Dakota Krout, the Divine Dungeon series, etc., etc. I know who you are. Hopefully, these two know who you are. If not, they should go buy a book. But do you want to tell them who you are, these guys at home, who you are, and what your name is, and why people should care about you? Because we all already do.
Sure. Great. Wonderful. So my name is Dakota Krout. I am the author of the Divine Dungeon series, as well as the second series that just started called The Completionist Chronicles. I am an Amazon bestseller for months on end. I know a lot of authors in the genres. I really enjoy writing. I really enjoy talking to fans. So my books are always from a slightly different perspective than the normal books, normal books. What's normal? But I try to write.
Setting on a washing machine?
Kind of, yeah, exactly. I try to write, I guess would be chaotic neutral characters. So they do what's in their best interest, and you'll see that a lot. Till this point, my books have focused on the perspective of a dungeon as it tries to lure in adventurers with promises of gold, loot, and powerful items. And then, there's always going to be people that go in that are too weak to go in. And so that's how the dungeon gets stronger, by eating the people that fail. So hopefully you check out my books and you love them and, highly rate them and all that fun stuff.
I know. Yeah. I have. Shameless plug.
Thanks, buddy. I know. Elevator speech. I'll rolled into one there.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. So if you guys are just joining us tonight because Dakota's awesome, hi. Someone will be watching the Twitch chat there, and we'll hopefully get your questions answered. Though Dakota has a whole section at the end that he gets to just talk about whatever he wants, and hopefully it won't be college sports again. I'm sorry. That was such a curveball to us when someone asked that. We're all just like, all right, let's do this.
I could do geopolitics of dick torture again if you really want to.
Oh God, please no.
Okay.
International politics and bond.
I am armed for that discussion.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been listening to the man with the golden gun, so I'm here.
So, if you guys don't know, we have a kind of quasi-scripted show. We have a few different sections we talk about. Each of the co-hosts and guests get to kind of chime in on it. And at the end, Dakota has just kind of the free reign of things, dogs and cats living together, things falling out of the sky. It's great. But anyway, the first segment we have is Game Stories. Game Stories is a section on either a story from a game you're playing or one you were in before where you learned a lesson. Who wants to take it away first this evening?
I'm going to continue with the epic of Belton Handerfist.
Belton Handerfist.
We've talked about Belton before. Belton is my not serial killer giant killer who just really wants to kill all of the giants. And, lynches them and keeps giant ears in a bag. He just, at this point, I assume is a sack he drags around behind him because he's got 10 of them in it.
I can only assume that sack smells very, very bad.
Yeah. So, let me see. Where did we last leave off Belton? This was before they tried to get him to interact with giants. So, they decided to ally with the good giants, which Belton doesn't think are a thing. He just assumes that all giants are inherently evil because they're giants. So, they go to... He gets them to bring him to the giant, what I've figured out is an undersea fortress. And then immediately goes rogue. And just starts killing giants left and right until the giants capture him and they talk to him for a little bit and then they reveal the giantess is a dragon or some shit, whatever. And then I'm really mad about this. She leaps down this well and I was like, great, because I went on initiative after her. So I used my newly acquired harp, which he grabbed a bard level just so you could fucking use it. It's
God.
I forget what it's called. It's this super powerful magic item. There are 7 of them in 5th edition that are all based on bards. And cast a thorn wall inside of the well.
Oh, so it's not
below the
wire
water.
building.
Yeah, so like the idea being that they would dive into the water and be threshed by the thorns as they go through,
Yeah.
which I thought was just amazing. And then, the GM came in and was like, you can't be, and there's a long ass fight or whatever. And then they finally left without Belton. So the party has gone elsewhere, and Belton has explored enough to figure out that they're underwater. So, like, that's where the campaign has taken a small pause while we do other things. As the GM is like, what do I do? There's a 9th level sorcerer out to destroy this place. I'm pretty sure he can. Like, the Giants need this fortress. Like, yeah. Belton is
taking
about
apart
to
stone
take
by
out a lot of
stone.
royalty. Fucking,
That's beautiful. Racism. So I have an interesting one. We've been doing a lot of playtesting, and one of the things we were comparing something to some casting stuff. And one of the things was we pulled it off an SRD or something, and it was a conjuring wizard, and it was just given to me, and I'm running the NPCs. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at spell list, I'm like, shit, I don't have a lot to do. Like, somebody just, like, this, like, undead just walked up and, smacked me in the face, and I'm just like, shit, what do I do? I was Wizzy the Wizard, by the way. I decided, creative name.
Good.
And
glad.
Wizzy, again, was a conjuration wizard, so most of the prepared spells she had was summon monster. So, 5-foot step back diagonally and summon a bear. Surprise bear! And the other player just starts yelling surprise bear. And the bear just one round mauls just one of the things. And it was just like, oh shit, well that's done.
That sounds grisly, man.
Man, I don't know if I can bear.
Stop.
I don't know if I can bear any more of these bear puns, man.
It'll be pandemonium in here pretty quick, man.
So next round rolls around, and I look at my spell list. I'm like, what's my other highest level spell? Oh, it's summon monster. So take a 5-foot step back and summon a bear. Surprise bear again. And so there were 2 surprise bears. And next turn was acid arrow because I had that, but later on, it was surprise Wolverines. So we have just decided that surprise bear is now a thing. Like, I just imagine this like little wizard just being like, surprise! And all of a sudden, this bear like jumps in the way and mauls whatever is in front of her. We may have to write this up as a spell or something. But
called the bag of tricks.
See,
It's fucking amazing.
There you go.
See, I feel like if you don't take a level of druid and then like somehow get your animal companions to take levels in rogue, you're doing everyone a disservice.
So one of the things we have is something that can possess a bunch of stuff. So I summoned the bear and it was mauling stuff. So the thing possessed the bear, and the bear went crazy and got powerful and shit. It was great.
Good.
But yeah, surprise bear. So we were talking about it before the show, and I was like, I got a story for you.
If it's a surprise bear, I feel like it should come like in circus regalia on the ball.
No, we've talked about this though before. I had that character. My wolf died as a ranger in Castle Ravenloft, and I got a bear, and I had a bunch of extra.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, if you're casting surprise bear, I feel part of the surprise should be a little bit
like a pheasant, a vest, and
Yeah.
So Savannah, Dakota, either of you guys got a story for us?
Go for it, Dakota.
Sure. So these are just characters that we thought were funny, or
a gaming story that you went, oh my god, or character you had, whatever you want, man.
Sure. So it shouldn't come as any surprise that I usually DM for my groups when I play.
Few of us have.
Well, yeah, I tend to come up with stories. Actually, that's how I originally started writing. Was I was like, man, I got to put my puns down on paper. So one of my really good friends, So I play by very simple rules. If you can roll it, you can do it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my friends, he decided to come into a session using, I think it was 3.5 rules, but he brought in a homebrew character.
Sure.
And so I told everyone that you can do it, like you can do whatever you want, but there's going to be some serious setbacks if you can't do it correctly. So he brought in a summoner, similar to you, but a little more focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the middle of the starting city, like one big city, like capital city. And we're all at the tavern going along, and he says, you know what? I want to try to summon something. And I said, okay, all right. He goes, okay, so I'm going to just pour power into it and summon the biggest thing I can.
That ends well, I'm sure.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
rolled a 20. So he got a critical success. Said, all right, now you got to roll to control it. He rolled a 1. And I said, okay, all right.
As one does.
Well, you don't know what you're summoning. You have no control over it. Let's see what you summon. So he rolls the die. We go down the list to find what he summoned. It was a gargantuan celestial whale. So we're in the middle of the city, and he drops a whale on the city. And okay, so the creature is so large that it crushes half the city and shoots him up to level 6 from level 1. But the backlash, not only did everyone, want to hunt down the summoner. Well, the backlash of it was that he then had a negative, or he had his modifier went down -3, which put him at -2 intelligence, or for his modifier. So he walked out of there just completely concussed and brain damaged for half the game. It was spectacular. But he was very, very powerful. He just couldn't do anything anymore.
Oh no!
Beautiful.
Whoops.
Wah, wah, wah.
I just hope that the whale fell for a while and then had the whole self-realization monologue.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But anyway, so my story this week, I think I've brought up before about how my group is playing in sort of a not quite post-apocalyptic, but cyberpunk-ish setting where we're not the punks, we're the rich people.
Yeah.
So in this last setting, the GM made the mistake of being in this town, there's these little little's a comparative term, these medium dog-sized pterodactyls. That they're just the apex predator of the area. They're like hawks, essentially. And I'm like, oh my god, have to have one as a friend.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. So for reference, Mike, this is Lan Refney, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So she goes in and she's like, okay, storekeeper, I need something to feed to the pterodactyls to make them like me. And she's like, oh, well, I can sell you a rabbit. And I'm thinking okay, a dead rabbit, that someone would take home and just have for stew. No. She goes to the hutch and she picks out the saddest, oldest rabbit. And she brings him up to me and is like, you've had a good run, Charles, and hands him over. And I'm like, he has a name? I can't feed Charles to the pterodactyl. So instead, I buy Charles some lettuce. And I buy some chunks of shitty meat, and I take Charles back to the hotel room. Well, actually, I send my porter to take Charles back to the hotel room because I have things to do.
Yes.
Pterodactyl things to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just did the falconer trick where you just kind of swing it around and lure them in. And so my character, instead of doing anything productive to the plot, spent half of the in-game day making friends with the local pterodactyls so that she could go up and steal one of their chicks. She basically learned which one was the weakest that they were trying to push out of the nest and made off with it. And she named it Diocletian, and he's going to be the best dinosaur friend. The only problem is that he keeps trying to eat Charles.
But it feels like they should be raised together and be best friends eventually, Fox and the Hound situation.
You need to get Charles awakened and then have the pterodactyl mount.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. It's not really the setting for awakened rabbits, but I'm into it.
You got to do some kind of ritual or some shit.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so we'll see how the ongoing saga of Charles v. Diocletian goes.
Sounds good. So the next section. Section, Mike, because
next section.
so you can tag it time-wise later.
If you want me to tag the timestamps, you should do this.
But yeah, the next one is your favorite working project that you're working on. This isn't a Kickstarter thing. If you have a Kickstarter thing, don't do it. But but yeah, Dakota, what are you working on that you can tell us about?
Oh, well, I know these great guys that are turning some of my books into a board game.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Can
Beyond that, I'm sure that maybe that's not what you want to talk about.
No, we can talk about it, but we can talk about a different section. I think we'll talk about it at the end there.
Sure. Well, as you know, I'm an author, so typically my stuff is about writing.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Writing another book. People will be very happy to hear that, I hope. So I have a whole bunch of books planned for this year and starting next year.
Just let me interject. Dakota
Sure.
doesn't have a life, by the way. Just to let you guys know, I've heard his schedule. He does not have a life. It's
I
just
have a
You and
life.
Mike should get along smashing.
Yeah, you
It's
and
just
Mike
a very
invent
busy
time.
life.
Yes. And
Man,
you got a new addition to the family, I think.
This is true. A very adorable daughter.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she very nice kid. So quiet, chill.
That's a rare blessing, I think.
Oh yeah. It's pretty exciting, man. Very new experience. First kid.
So that's a new project that you worked on. You
Yeah.
You built a child. You built a human life. Oh my god.
Realistically, I had a very small part in it.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I mean, hey, let's not talk about small, large, whatever, man. Sorry, you walked into that one. I'm sorry.
I did.
So yeah, so what are you writing next that you can talk about?
So the next book I'm writing is the second book in the Completionist Chronicles.
Mhm.
So I don't have a name to give out for it yet, just because it changes all the time. It's really fun. So I do have a writing order to these things. So it's the second one in this series, the fourth one in the Divine Dungeon series, which is a series, not a trilogy. A lot of people think it's a trilogy, but I'm just taking a break from it.
It's a trilogy at the moment.
Right, yes. But I'm also writing a really fun book on the side that is hard fantasy.
Mhm.
So not like erotic fantasy, like I'm saying like hard fantasy, like it's not no game mechanics, anything like that. It's like more traditional fantasy.
Less lit RPG, more RPG, more fantasy.
Exactly, and it is just so fun. It's so fun, man. Like I don't even know what else to say. Like when I'm writing, it's just the most fun stuff.
Mhm.
If you've read anything by Will White, he has one of his books kind of inspired me to write this series, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's really hard because it's only like a quarter done, so it's really hard for me to be giving out details, but maybe we'll be back someday talking about more games y'all are making, and maybe we'll just make this a thing, and make this a partnership,
Please do, man. Actually, we were talking internally about, say, if we did anything big, we couldn't do it till Pathfinder 2 because they just got announced, and it's like, oh man, that'd be such a great way to ring that in. That's only a year away. Just saying. But yeah,
that's pretty much my thing, man. I'm just writing until I have books much closer to completion. It's hard for me to give details on them, so because I don't even know where the story is going to go for sure. Like I have my outlines, but sometimes the characters take over. If you have a bird, you'll understand.
Yeah.
I got a dog. I understand. Where's Kurt?
Flying toddlers.
So, Mike, what are you up to these days?
Non-Kickstarter wise, I have a column on the N-World.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The other week, Morris was like, "Hey, I want something D&D funny, enjoyable to put on the front page," and he suggested a few topics, and I was like, mythological figures is the one I like most, so I sent him an Achilles.
Nice.
And last week was Lancelot. Next week is Miyamoto Musashi, which I'm pretty stoked for. And yeah, I don't know. It's more popular than I thought.
That's cool.
I thought we'd maybe get like a couple comments, but each one has several dozens of comments, and I'm like, okay. Oh my god!
I hope they're better than
Lancelot, everyone.
Let's say I hope they're better comments than that other thread you've been on recently.
Yeah, better than the Nazis. Yes. Maybe slightly more pedantic, but I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So,
Lesser of two evils.
Check it out. Miyamoto Musashi, and I always ask people to let me know who else they want to see. So I have a list of like 60 characters I have to get through.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I know it's pretty cool because like I have a minor in classics, So like I'm actually
So we're getting Hannibal at some point.
trained in this. Oh, I don't know. I was gonna avoid actual historical figures for a
Okay,
while,
fine.
but I couldn't. I mean Miyamoto, man, like
Yeah, I know.
beat 15 dudes with an oar. War, man. Like these people had swords, and this guy just beat him down with an oar, and he had his own sword. He could have done it with a sword. But he chose the oar, and like that's worthy of being up there with Achilles and all the other people that never probably existed.
I have a terrible pun. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Would you say that Miyamoto was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miyamoto Musashi.
Okay. Would you say that he hung out with seals a lot?
No, I don't think so.
Well, because he's out there, you know, or.
Um,
I'm sorry, I can't stop the puns. They.
Bless you, child.
I mean, let's face it. None of us went into the industry to not inflict puns on people.
It's true.
We actually had that. We had that time when we were talking about the dumbest puns we put into like games that we've slipped in. Yeah.
I'm still very fond of the deadpan stare feat intended for necromancers.
So let's see. What do I got on my plate? So we had a really weird thing come up. I posted a joke. It was a joke from the intro of this class of Dilettante. Because it was basically you get what first level class features at every level from other classes and don't progress them very much. And it was like if you're distracted and you know it, take this class. If you're in a multi-class, and I read the whole thing, but it was something like that. I wrote the whole thing up as a joke. I posted on my Facebook, and everybody liked it and was like, "Dude, when's this coming out?" And I'm like, "Fuck." It wasn't on the schedule. Like going out 8 months, it wasn't on the schedule. But hey, Ian, we're at a work day. Ian, can we put this out today? And he's like, "Yeah, man, I've been over it a few times. It's not like it needs a lot of work. Yeah, sure, let's go." So from like Sunday morning to Sunday evening, we basically finished the class and put it out. From start to formatted, and it's selling like wildfire. And I'm like, God damn it. You know, we plan things, we work on things, and we get it, and then the thing that sells is the dumb pun, stupid joke thing. So you better believe that little song is right up there. So
good. I'm glad.
Yeah, what else we got? Oh, we got our April 1st book. I'm super pumped to put that out. It's all formatted. It just has to go out, you know, obviously on the 1st.
I was thinking I might switch it up and post Waldo on April 1st.
Nice.
Like from Where's Waldo?
Yep.
Good.
Just get like a really tiny ass pixel Waldo
Kurt,
hidden
let's go.
somewhere in the image.
Hop up.
Good.
Come here, Kurt.
You should definitely put Carmen Sandiego in there too.
Oh shit.
Dude,
because while you were looking for them, they found each other.
Dude, they're getting she's getting a movie and a TV show, and it's awesome.
I'm very
perfect
excited.
casting.
That was the first game I ever remember playing, except with the possible exception of Solitaire.
Kurt, come here. Let's go.
Like computer game.
We had like a crazy blizzard here in Pittsburgh in '94, and we were all snowed in, and we had rented it. And my mom like beat it in a sitting, and I was like, "Mom, you're the greatest! This is the best thing that's ever happened to our family."
Come here.
Good.
Yeah. All right, and you're not really doing much right now, right, Savannah?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
The
More
teapot
fiction
started
editing.
whistling, and my dog went nuts.
It's all right. We're
Sorry,
moving on
Savannah,
to
please.
favorite
I
new
can still hear.
projects. That
10,000
are
Years
not ours.
Dungeon?
Yeah, pretty much. As long as it's not Cal. Let's see. So our next one, yeah, it's favorite project that is not ours.
Not ours.
I'm very excited. The Company of Fiends is out. I've been waiting for this for ages.
Ooh, Company of Fiends, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it.
I need to go. Well, I would say I need to go pick that up, but it's probably sitting in my drive-through folder somewhere.
Somewhere.
So I need to read it, and it's gonna be great.
Is that by Wendell Roy or somebody else?
This is a Wendell one. Most of them are, but this one definitely is.
I figured that was his line.
Yes.
That's cool. I like Wendell a lot.
Okay. There we
And
go.
for
Now,
those
if
who
we
are
could
like,
just
what's
get
in the company of?
Play to do, in the Company of Unicorns, I'll
It
be
is,
happy. Or was it
ways to
mermaids?
Play as a fiend or unicorn or dragon or whatever the in the company of blank, whatever blank is.
I got one
Yes.
coming up with that line. I'm excited.
Ooh.
I've
Can you
talked
tell
about
us the
it.
title?
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Again? Well,
Because
tell me again.
it's in the company of Lichen Pyres because he went to a really goofy book and he was like, "Can you read about the most like 90s cringe you can think of, like vampire werewolves?" I'm like, yes, I can.
So Underworld, the race.
Pretty much.
Is that
And
what we're looking at?
I literally pitched him on the most like try hard archetype alternate class I could think of, and it's like the guy who uses the dark and the light, but like blood and wears a black trench coat type of writing.
Does he
Edgelord.
have like
Edgelord,
two different
yes.
colored angel wings?
No, but I wrote that class. I wrote that race though.
Good.
So we had a book called Half-Breeds and Hybrids or whatever. And in that book I was like, what can I get? And I was just like, what's the most cringy thing I can think of? And it was angels and demons smashed together. And you know who I got for that? I got goddamn Jack Holiday.
Oh.
Gorgeous artwork. And he owed me something from the last Kickstarter. I'm like, can you do this? And I'm like, it's the most pretty piece in the world, but it does not deserve it.
Hold on. I think I know the exact piece that you're talking about.
The Otium?
It's this one, right?
Yeah, did he reuse it in there?
He made it so I could buy it.
Yeah, that's fine. I told him to do it. That's funny. That's exactly where that came from.
I was like, fuck yeah, all this Jack Holiday shit. Yes, yes, yes.
I'm glad I found another home. Yeah, that was the background of where it started.
Yeah, it was, you were talking about it. I was like, oh, I know that piece.
Yep, I originally created for that piece. So yeah. Savannah, anything else on that?
No, that's what I got.
Cool. Dakota, what do you got? Here, I know you can't pitch too much from other authors, but
oh no, well it's just like, as much as I love other authors, there's a few of them have some,
I gotcha.
issues with each other, so I'm not trying to start fights, so I mean, a lot of great authors I get to talk to on a regular basis, but a good friend of mine, Michael Chatfield, is writing a book. I believe it's called The 10-Week Curse right now, and it's the only place I can read is on Patreon, but it is really good, and that's kind of the thing with Chatfield. Everything is really good, and it's kind of annoying how good he is. Not that he is good, but he wrote 12 books last year, dude.
Last year.
Well, no. Let me rephrase that. He published 12 books last year.
Okay.
Slightly different.
That he wrote that year.
Oh wow. So yeah. So you were.
So,
that was a roller coaster.
Never mind.
Man. Let me put it like this. He writes a minimum of I believe from our chat field. He writes a minimum of 6,000 words a day.
Jesus. In
his books. I know, it's ridiculous.
I call witchcraft.
Right? Thank you.
I'd say some of my best days are 6K, and that's the take an Advil afterwards and
lay down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's really fun to watch him work, because what he does is he does what's called writing sprints. So he'll write for like 25 minutes, and then he'll just go over to his in-house gym and like pump iron for like 15-20 minutes, and then he'll go back and type, and it's insane, and I love it. It's amazing. Yeah, so I really like to plug him.
Have you made sure that he's not like an Auton or a Golem or a Cyborg? Like, are we sure?
I don't know for sure that he doesn't just plug his fingers in like a USB port and just download. But I mean, it's possible. But no, he finishes like a book in 2 weeks. Like I'm talking like 110,000 word book. He's like 2-3 weeks, and then he sends it off to his editor. So when I say he published 12 books last year, it's because he wrote much more than 12 books, but he only published 12 of them.
Only?
Oh, Jesus. Only.
Yeah, I know.
Good to know.
He's amazing, and I want to catch up to him. That's all there is to it.
All right.
I mean,
so now we have like an escalating tier of like how much you output. It's like, Savannah, I don't know how much you output, but I know it's like me, then Mike, then Dakota, then like, and like we're going through the roof now. But
yeah, when I'm in writing mode, I have to hit at least 6,000 or 7,000 words just to like. My target for a day of writing mode is 10,000 words, and I sometimes hit it, but I always at least get past 7.
Well, I have to say I'm surrounded by very talented authors, and they all bring something really incredible to the table. And I mean, most of the other authors, I'm like, man, I wish I was writing something similar to this. So it's just really cool. Like I've always said, if you're the most talented person in the room, if you're the most intelligent person in the room, you're
in
should
the
probably
wrong
find
room?
it exactly. You should find a new room and find more impressive people to associate yourself with. Not impressive, just fun. Like because you don't output that kind of quality without being a super fun dude. You know, he has a lot going on in his mind, and it's really fun to talk to him. Kind of like Scott. Hey man, how you doing?
Occasionally, I've done that. So Mike, what do you got on your mind today? Speaking of things on our minds.
Well, our much larger podcast competitors, No Direction, are launching a whole bunch of shit.
They are doing that.
Yeah, like there's a couple different podcasts. One of them has Owen involved, which I'm like, what?
That's cool.
When does he suddenly have time for that? Well, I say suddenly.
I think that Paizo is starting to encourage a larger Twitch and streaming presence, which we'll get to in the next topic.
Okay.
But
Here we go.
yeah, No Direction's great. They have a much more professional show than we do.
What do you mean? What do you mean? We're sitting here. Mike has his film grain, and I have. You know,
Here I am connecting with you from 1992, everyone.
So,
Watch out for the Bears.
let's see. So I found the weirdest thing today.
Putin's not president still, right? Sorry, continue.
No. He still is, unfortunately.
He is. He's been this way for a long time, everyone.
You sure he's not an automaton? Oh my
yeah.
God, where's the KGB?
They find you. No, sorry. Go ahead.
So
You don't find them.
So the weird
They
thing
find
I found today was this thing called the Unmerica Survival Guide,
Oh,
and
God.
it sounds like a really hot button political topic, and I promise you it's not.
Okay.
It's based on this kind of like surrealist Gonzo style of artwork, very much reminiscent of Hunter S. Thompson. If you guys know, one of my most famous books is Gonzo, and Gonzo 2. So the fact that got there, and it's selling like wildfire, apparently, I think it's like silver or platinum or something status on drive-through. At least it was in the hottest category at one point. And I'm just reading this, and it's like post-apocalyptic, like post-societal collapse America, and like you're trying to survive, and there's all sorts of weird shit, and it just the cover art is just wonderfully weird. I don't know. I'm down. Sign me up.
Where's the link? I was just looking at it.
It's in our document that I'm not currently looking at.
It is not in the document where it should be.
Yes, it is. Should be the
Nope.
cool
It
thing.
says fan Mass Effect races for Starfinder. That's what I'm talking
Did not go
about. Oh, is
there.
it up here? Is this it? Oh, I got it. I found it. It's all good. This is the thing Scott's talking about, everybody. Daniel Sand wanted to know if and I assume he's talking about the Pathfinder version of Living Dungeon. The players are entering the dungeon, right?
Do you want to talk about that a little bit later on? The real short version is yes, you guys are. There's gonna be a Mike, do you want to take a side detour and talk about it?
No, I gave him an answer, and we can talk about it more.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, so we can kind of talk about it and show you. I can't show you guys what we're working on, but
well, let's get to it.
Yeah.
About Pathfinder stuff. Oh, Savannah, did you have a thing?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just agreeing.
You already went.
I'm just saying, and away. We're going.
Oh, and away. Oh, okay.
And away.
All right. There's a great EN World fact for the upcoming Pathfinder playtest stuff where they compile everything. I say this not because EN World hires me to do a lot of stuff, but because they are excellent. So it's easily navigable. It is up to date. And it is where I will be going to find out all the stuff about the upcoming Pathfinder playtest. And I suggest everyone does the same.
And it's what I use to catch up before the show. Shamelessly. Let's say we don't have time to do that always. I catch up in bulk.
I feel it. You're not gonna get any.
There's a rush in the document about 3 hours before the show goes on air as well. Like, oh yeah, we have to do this thing.
Yo.
I added stuff last week though. I was very happy. The bear story. So yeah. So otherwise, they talked about some stuff with the rogue, the fighter, a few other things. The fighter's getting some fun stuff. The rogue, it looks like they're taking a little bit of the hybrid from the Unchained Rogue a little bit. So you're doing.
We did a whole other playtest session with somebody, and Raddy McFarland went on RPG Circus and talked about the rogue for like a whole hour, I think it was.
yeah, listen to them. They're way more knowledgeable about it because they actually got to play it. So once they, Mike, what do you think? They're gonna let us a lowly show like us do that at some point?
Probably not.
I am not expecting to. But anyway, anything else Pathfinder 2 related?
Sort of.
Sort
So
of?
Paizo has started an official channel on Twitch.
Oh, cool.
And their first airing of Paizo Starfinder Pathfinder news will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I'm really glad it's at the same time as our show where we have to
That's
change
what I was
it.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking lose my mind. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I think Eric probably was like, "Oh, and you should take some time out of your work hours and do this thing because we need to have a bigger presence on Twitch."
It's a smart move though. I really think that's great because that's something we've seen from Paizo overall. As they go, oh, a new medium that we can expand into and try. Cool. We can engage with our clients. Cool. Our customers. Cool. Like that's something that they've always been about. Like they pop up on the message board pretty regularly.
Who do you guys think they're gonna put on the show? My money is on Daigle and somebody.
I don't know. That's a very hard question. Savannah, you have more insight than us.
I was gonna say I hope to see Crystal, honestly.
Oh yeah,
She's
Crystal.
fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be a good choice. Yeah, and she's definitely doing something with the No Direction. I think she's doing like a live stream play or some shit.
Probably. Crystal does the best voices when she runs. It's awesome.
For those of us who are not Paizo fan or who are on our Twitch chat, you guys want to tell us who these people are?
You go first, Meg.
Daigle has been with Paizo for like 5 or 6 years, and he's responsible for the bestiary and now the end of Pathfinder, I assume, before Pathfinder 2 happens. He's a cool guy. I don't know. He's hired Savannah for more stuff than me. I got hired by Mark Moreland for gigs.
Fair. I know that he was the one who did, before his tenure at Paizo, he was the one who created Green Blood on a Black Rock event at PaizoCon, which was like, oh man, you're pirates who, bring in scary monsters to fight each other. So, but yeah, no, Crystal's awesome. I believe she's a developer now.
Yeah.
Like officially. Because she went from being as part of their art team to being a freelancer to being a developer now. So yeah.
She used to do some great panels. I remember sitting in on.
Yep.
You think they put her up for news?
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't see why not. I mean, she's a developer. They have
because they're going to send Owen off to do this thing, and they're going to send her off to do. So I'd assume everyone would get one.
Get a different one. That's fair.
Yeah, that's
maybe Amanda then.
Yeah. I bet you're right there.
She and Daigle work pretty in tandem, from what I can tell. So.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
I read more of the Starfinder book, so we can talk a little bit more about Starfinder. Item levels, fucking great.
Which ones?
The item level system.
Item level, yeah. I have strong opinions. Having worked on 2 freelance projects and 2 internal projects dealing with item levels, they work, but sometimes they don't scale quite nicely.
That was one something that I noticed pretty quick that I asked McCarthy about because he's been deeper in the Starfinder barrel. And basically, you have to make sure that the party's wealth level doesn't get too disparate from their actual level because items play such a bigger part of Starfinder than in Pathfinder.
So
that's interesting because items were a huge part of Pathfinder.
Well, Christmas treeing your items was a huge part of Pathfinder.
Yeah. Oh, Dakota! We bored Dakota to death. He's died. I'm sure he'll
in
a second. So just real quick, I actually took the math of every single item in Starfinder, every weapon in Starfinder, plotted out their damage, plotted out their price, everything, and created charts to figure out where they went and how to generate stuff based on it. It is a janky chart. It is a really
a true American hero, friend.
It is really janky, and at you can also see kind of an interesting thing at 15th level that it goes from it's relatively weird. Then 15th level is like this. It just does this huge jump. We've lost Dakota again.
So one of the reasons I say that they put so much emphasis on items is everybody gets weapon specialization. And that is how they up their damage codes essentially, because you just add your level to your damage with a weapon that you specialized in. So even if it's only a level 1 auto pistol or whatever the fuck,
I got you.
Adding your bonus. It's I don't know. I'm digging it.
It works, but I'll tell you right now, the math is there's a little jank to it.
The upgraded the wounds. Oh yes, the wounding property table. That needed to be in. And
Yeah.
whoever the fuck was like, an improvised weapon is just a club. I want to kick. Oh my god, why has that not always been the rule? Like, that's so simple. That's so simple. It's so easy. Like, why haven't we just been doing that?
So you're saying if I wanted to smack someone with a goblin, they act as a club?
Yes.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Actually, it goes on to say something like, but you can use another weapon if you think that's more appropriate.
Yeah, it does. There's more nods to GM throughout the book.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
good.
okay. A little weird because like everything about Paizo is built on the back of that organized play and subscription stuff. So I was a little surprised to see that, but not wholesale. It wasn't like, oh, shock and awe. I was just like, oh.
Dakota, are we speaking Greek to you right now?
Oh, I mean, I'm catching most of it. I'm a pretty big gamer myself, so
Yeah, we this is a Starfinder. Pathfinder is a sci-fi setting. System.
What else did I really
fantasy.
like leapt out at me? Nothing else has really jumped out at me. I still need to read the combat, the spaceships, and the spaceship combat, and the fucking Pathfinder Legacy and the game mastering chapters. Although most of the game mastering chapter looked like it was the same, I'm suspecting there's going to be a lot of subtle differences.
There's a lot of subtle differences. The ship combat thing, they really were like, here's one game, here's another game. They use similar terms. There's a lot of parallels between them, and it works. I've done a little bit with it. It's not my favorite aspect of Starfinder. But it works. It works.
And Dakota, Raymond says hello, and then he feels slightly betrayed.
No, I saw that. I said Ramon, he would never leave you, but no one knows that's my tag, so now they do.
Dun dun dun.
Also, I want to say hi to Daniel, Daniel SND. I'm not sure how to say that. Danielson. But yes, Daniel's awesome as well. But Ramon, I would never leave you. Don't worry. I'll always come back. Or just, have them on the side.
Well, as long as everybody's open and honest, you can make it work.
Yeah,
right?
Have some play. It will be great. I'm currently feeding my corgi to keep him quiet.
So bribing?
Yeah.
D&D 5e news and speculation.
Yeah. D&D 5e, guys. So
all I got is there's a lot of speculation on campaign settings, and they keep dropping rumors about like, oh, maybe it'll be Spelljammer. We don't need the Mystic until we do Dark Sun.
Yeah. I'm actually, I think Dark Sun would be fun. It'd be really dark and hard. It wouldn't be hard to do, but it'd be really dark, dude. I mean, it is not.
It's kind of in the name.
I know, but like I don't know if you guys remember Dark Sun. Like Dark Sun is a little.
Yeah. I've never played in it, but I have heard things.
Like it's like slavery, pretty rampant. Casting spells, better blight that nature.
Yeah.
I mean, they did.
I don't know. I just don't enjoy settings like that.
Yeah, but
I can go for some grit, but we're already killing the planet. I don't need to play in a world where I'm personally actively in the moment killing the planet.
Well, so they did Ravenloft, but Ravenloft is like gothic romance, gothic romance horror, which is like, I get the outcast system and all that stuff. It's fun, but it's not. It's more Frankenstein than let's go kill a bunch of slaves who are misbehaving.
I haven't followed the Forgotten Realms, but did they get rid of Kalimshan and slavery in the Forgotten Realms? I
don't know, but I remember just the games that I played in with Dark Sun were just all about it.
I don't know. I suspect we'll see Spelljammer sooner than Dark Sun.
I hope we see Spelljammer. Space Hippos.
Yeah, I was okay with Spelljammer. It was I don't
weird.
know.
It's weird and wonderful, and I love that shit. So that is.
I'd like to see them really embrace Eberron. I thought Eberron was really cool, and kind of didn't get as it came too late to get the full treatment it should have gotten.
So wasn't the background for Eberron that there was the contest to pitch them, and that was when it won?
That was the one that won, yeah.
Yeah, that always is kind of the Cinderella story to me. Someone pitches the story of the 10,000 neckbeards out there, and I love your neckbeards. Don't get me wrong. That's a term of endearment out there, and to be dude, check out my homebrewed campaign setting, and the guys who make that thing that you've loved for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, are just yes,
oh, okay.
That is the coolest thing ever. And you're like, oh, okay, great. And that's what they made a big deal about, and all this great artwork and dungeon punk shit. It's awesome, dude. That to me is just that's the dream. Sorry, I had a bit of a bit of a fangasm there.
Another thing that was interesting that I ran into this morning, actually, I didn't put in the document. There's a charity product on DM's Guild.
Is it called Operation Nazi Smasher?
No, it's not. Although I bet if you look up fucking Operation Nazi Smasher DM's Guild, it'll still be on there. But
No, probably.
I can add to that, by the way. Go ahead.
The product is a nice little thing to go to, like, Doctors Without Borders, but it's all profits go to the charity. And I was like, hey, to somebody working on the project, just so you know, like, there's a little box normally when you're doing this stuff where you can set it up to be for charity, and all proceeds go to charity. And they're like, well, we're still working on getting that through with Drive-Thru RPG and Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, that's ugly.
Yeah, isn't that fucking just obnoxiously ugly? Like, why would you? Who do they think somebody's gonna, like, game the system and make a fake charity to collect DM's Guild profits? Like, what kind of crack are you fucking on? I don't know. Just more of that thuggish fucking Hasbro again. I was surprised though.
So,
I was
Mike,
like, wow.
in the continuing epic of things selling on DM's Guild that shouldn't, I actually reached out to them because they actually, I saw some things selling through DM's Guild. Dakota, if you don't know, so DM's Guild is where all 5e stuff goes through.
Right.
Well, not all of it, but a lot of it. And
Right.
they actually have
pretty much anything.
Yeah, and they have a little caveat that's like, we can actually take over your IP, kind of, if you put it out on there. And we're like, okay, we're not signing up for that.
Intellectual property to DM's Guild forever. You retain 2 rights of ownership, which are pretty much just you can pull the product, and I forget what the other one was.
But yeah, anyway,
for all their intents and purposes.
So I
Which
saw
is what we're doing Pathfinder.
Yeah, so I saw a product selling there, and I reached out to them like, hey guys, I didn't sign up for that, and they're like, their response to me was, look, it's not being sold through the DM's Guild, but it's being sold through the site that sells DM's Guild, which is like their branded version of Drive-Thru. And I'm like, it doesn't really, that's kind of misrepresentation there a little bit. I know Mike's had his little tiffs, but
yeah. I've emailed WotC's legal department about it because I've tried to contact OBS One Bookshelf 3 times about this. And one time they were like, it's a feature. And I was like, how is this a feature, man? Did you seriously just try to pull that on me? And then another person asked them politely, and I called them out in a public forum at another point, pointing back to an email that I had sent like 8 months earlier about it. Yeah.
All right, so let's not get into that again.
Yeah, let's not.
Doesn't look we have any other RPG news?
Yeah, other RPG news.
We have something for it?
Yeah, there's Sisters of Battle are getting plastic miniatures.
Holy shit, that's like the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening?
It's happening.
This is not like this is almost April Fool's, dude.
I mean, frankly, I'm kind of hoping that we're going to see Lady Space Marines in the near future.
We're not, dude.
That's fair, but like the Sisters of Battle are kind of a mixed bag, feels wise.
Yeah.
Let's say
so.
I like the idea of Sisters of Battle getting their plastic minis, but it's just been like what 5 years too late.
Yeah, better too little too late than never.
And I don't think we're seeing a female Space Marine. I would still love it, but dude, I'm part of that fandom.
I'm gonna try to crack my way in there, man. The deadline for submissions for Black Library this year is on April 10th. So
it's not, dude. They're not doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. It. Give me a couple years to get in there. Get my hooks
all right.
Hooks in there.
All right. So, do we move to the next section? Other media of interest.
Yeah, other media of interest.
We're doing this so we know the time market, by the way.
Yes.
We're not just having a sweet rave over here.
Yeah, you kind of with your camera there, you do have kind of a sexy Matrix thing going on.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tanky needs an exit.
I don't know. We might get more viewers if we just had a rave the whole time. I don't know.
I guess I should just push this into that. That would have made sense.
I could flip my light switch off on. That's pretty much all I got.
All right, sounds good. We can start pulling up some boots and some pants.
So the guys who wrote or made Game of Thrones are doing the new Star Wars movies. Who had this one?
Not me, but
that's not me. No.
Yep. Mystery person wants us to know that they're making some stuff.
That's
these are also the assholes who are like, let's make Confederate. Oh, never mind. No longer interested.
No. I was looking at. I heard about that. I didn't want to share it. I'm like, I don't know. That's not like my thing. But yeah, I mean, they're good writers. Maybe we'll see something interesting. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. Funny thing that happened this week.
Oh yeah, Ube.
Uwe Boll. So Uwe Boll is this contentious, let's go with, German film director who has made.
Insane.
Yeah, I was trying to be polite.
I'm not.
But anyway, he's made a lot of movies, some of which you might have seen. They're some of the worst video game adaptations around, like Blood Rain.
Yeah, Blood Rain, yeah.
Far Cry, Postal. Just before we get into it, the best way to watch a Uwe Boll movie is to adopt a horrible German accent, and then pretend that as you watch, you add the postmodern director commentary from Uwe Boll to the movie as you watch it. It's much more enjoyable. It's not the bullshit American cinema try to shove down your throat. So anyway,
wait, real quick.
You drifted slightly towards Tommy Wiseau there.
He's not very far off. At one point, he got really upset at people because some game journalists, and he boxed.
Something awful made fun of him.
Yeah, and he actually had a boxing match with one of them.
And it was supposed to be like a charity boxing match, and Zach Parsons went like in good faith. And then Uwe Boll, I guess, trained for like 2 months beforehand and then just like stomped him. And he was like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is for charity. I thought we were having fun." Dude, how dare you say the bad things about me on a website? Like, yeah. So he's all mad because Dwayne Johnson released the Rampage movie based on the Rampage video game. You guys remember the Rampage video game? He plays the gorilla or the werewolf or the yeah. You go destroy buildings and stuff. Yeah, classic game. But apparently, he has a movie franchise already called Rampage, and he's like gonna sue Warner Brothers or something over it. He like lost his fucking mind on Twitter and his website.
Always tweet in the third person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to watch it and director commentary your own Uwe Boll comments. Those are the best ways to watch movies.
Okay,
that's pretty magnificent.
Yeah,
I like it.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
now I really want to watch the Rampage movie.
Yeah,
that was the shit when I was like 6.
Yeah,
dude,
I don't know.
I've seen that in the arcade. My mind just like crumbled, and oh my god.
The 64 version was my first.
Yeah.
I always played on arcade cabinets.
Yep.
So
Lizzie's my fave.
Connecticut with your arcades.
Hey man,
we had like 2 arcades in Pittsburgh, and they were shit.
I see how it is. You guys had arcades. We had the lobby in Walmart.
But so yeah, that's what we had, like shit like that. Oh shit, no, I actually had the most preppy place I ever played games. We used to go skiing, and there was like this whole section for people who didn't want to ski, and it was just a bunch of arcade machines. And at the end of the day, I would like whatever money I had, I would go spend on them. Hydro Thunder. All right. So, Mike, I hear you have this is about Kickstarters now, and I hear, Mike, you have a Kickstarter maybe? Is this what's going on?
I do. We went past 3,000, and we picked up a pledge while the show was going on.
Nice.
We are on our way to being funded, which makes me very, very relieved because I put some money and a lot of time into this one. It's a mega adventure for 5e, and also an adventure path for 5e, and also a book of like iconics that you can use as pre-generated characters or as NPC rivals. There are 9 free PDFs on the Kickstarter page that you should check out. 8 of them are illustrated by Claudio Pozas, and it's all from my Eastern Fantasy Noir steampunk campaign setting, Mists of Akuma.
That was a lot. That's a lot of adjectives. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and all the adjectives are relative. Like, it's not just word soup or anything.
Yeah. Like, it's the order of importance is Eastern Fantasy, and then Noir, and then Steampunk. So if you're like in the no Steampunk camp, check out the Sober and Primer PDF on the Kickstarter page, and there's a little sidebar that tells you how to pull all the steampunk out.
Cool.
Because, yeah, we planned ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually in that camp. I hate to say it.
That's okay.
Here,
you're also against a lot of the things in my other recent.
Yeah, I am. But here's the thing. Okay, so I made a comment recently that I'm like, all right, can we stop doing? I basically was like, it's a dead horse. The following things are dead horses: pirates, zombies, and steampunk. And
vampires.
Oh yeah. Well, the vampires were like, is it to a lesser extent? It's kind of regenning. It's coming back to life. And Lovecraft. I have a whole thing on Lovecraft we will not get into. But the thing is, though, I like most of those things. Don't get me wrong. I like most of those things. We've just been like in a deluge of that media for like the last like decade, and I'm just like, all right, I'm a little tired, guys. And I'm really not in Lovecraft. I have several questions about your writing.
More zombies. What else did you say? Steampunk, I think it was.
Yeah, steampunk, zombies, and Lovecraft.
Here's your camera. Yes.
Yes, Mike. I know you've written that. Here, I've written shit for all that stuff though. It's like not like I'm like guiltless. I'm just grumpy old dude. I'm not that old, am I?
Feels so weird holding this book and like feeling a sense of warmth. Like I've become the thing that they all told me I'd become, and I'm just like loving it.
All right, so what else we got here? Oh, Pony Finder from the Ashes. All right, so again, I'm not a big Pony Finder dude. I'm not. My Little Pony never did anything for me. But Maxwell Silver and his team actually do really cool products. Like, not my cup of tea, but if it's your cup of tea, this is like the shit for you.
And I've heard that they are using my style guide, and so everything actually looks good and has like, formatting and grammar and stuff. So quality has gone up if you are a brony and were like a little disappointed before. Yeah, they had no style guide or anything. I was like, look, guys, just here's the document. It's all formatted. Just like copy this stat block and then fill in your information and don't change any of the formatting. And then give it to your layout person and they will love you for it. And yeah, now they have, I don't think he's hired an editor on since me, but I'm okay with that. Like, I'm just happy that they're.
Wait. He doesn't have an editor.
My cup of tea. I don't know. I was editing for him, and then I gave him a style guide.
If you don't have an editor, we have several we would recommend, but like, you cannot edit your own stuff. Please, God, no. Dakota, have you ever? How does your stuff look before an editor gets to it?
Garbage.
Yup.
I would never put it online.
Nope. my first few products, I didn't have an editor. They didn't sell very well for a reason.
My very first book, Dungeonborn, did not have an editor for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
And then people started to like it, and then they were like, "Hey, man, fix this mess." So
this is hot garbage grammar. Please go ahead and fix it.
I'm like ridiculously attentive to detail. Like every once in a while, stuff slips by me because I use spreadsheets, and every once in a while, I'm just copying the wrong thing. Yeah, man, like I'm a programmer, so like I'm used to being like super careful with everything.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest downfall is that I put commas everywhere. Like,
yeah, people really love their commas and think that they use it every time that they would pause while speaking, but that's not what fucking commas do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's actually the thing my editor does most is he just goes through and deletes commas.
Yep.
I had a guy who worked with me. He's a great designer. I love him. But he had what we personally both agreed was his war on punctuation. So I edit for some of the other people. Sometimes I actually have done editing, but you can't edit your own thing, so I don't ever edit my own stuff. Obviously beyond the, go through myself. But like, I edited his stuff, and he in like 2 paragraphs did not put a period. And I'm like, my friend,
but he remembered to like capitalize at the start of new sentences?
No, it was just word soup. But it was really good word soup.
I was gonna say, I just like
I took his 2 paragraphs of like block text like this, and I'm like, okay, this is a sentence. It goes here, here's a period. Oh, look, I can use a semicolon. I actually know how to use that. Oh my God, when you learn how to use a semicolon, your life changes.
It really does.
It's true.
I had this sentence that isn't really supposed to go here, but I'm going to shove it on anyway. It's connected.
I don't know. McCarthy normally is who I have edit. Although recently I've been self-edited, man, and people have complimented the editing in the book, which I was afraid of. But I also do all my own layout, so I see it in multiple different ways.
Sure.
Like, and when I do my self-edit, I change the background of my Word text document and the font style and everything. But it's very difficult, and you need to take it very seriously and be super concentrating when you fucking do it.
So,
but
how I do
McCarthy. No, I wanted to say like one of the things I've noticed and started to change is like whenever I do the layout, I can see where it comes up where like the is the first word in 3 lines in a row, and I can change it because I'm the guy who fucking wrote it. So like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't occur to me how annoying that was when I read stuff until I started doing my layout, and I was like, oh my God, it says no, we gotta fix that.
Yeah. Our process is, after we get everything all done, it's I write, Ian edits, I drop it in the document and start formatting it, and then I export it. I edit it while I'm formatting it, and then Ian edits it once it's in the doc, so he actually has a second look at it. And so that's how we actually. So it's like rolling continuous edits on a central Google Doc.
A bunch of people in the chat say use your wife to be the editor, and that they apparently do that too, which I've also done.
Let's say I had my ex-wife edit a few things for me for a while. It was a benefit. She's a teacher. It was great.
Yep. My lovely wife is much smarter than I am. So, but she's also not a huge fan of like fantasy fiction sort of things.
So
I got
you're saying she needs
because
the
I was
shit.
like, it's all cyberpunk, Steph, and she's like, fine. Yeah.
Yep. Well, for me, so what I do is actually I really hope that I'm an easy get edit for it, because I go through my first pass, I just write the book. The second pass, I go through and I add like better dialogue and clean things up. Add foreshadowing, all this fun stuff, puns, lots of puns everywhere. And then I go back to the start again and I look for any error I can find. And then my editor goes through it for the first time. Then my wife goes through it, and then typically my editor again, and then from there beta readers. So yeah.
Yeah, playtesters, by the way. I have playtesters when I self-edit, so that helps a lot too.
In our internal team, we have 3 people who do the playtesting for us, kind of. I jump in on it, but I'd never touch anything that I've written. The rule is we always say, you don't playtest what you've touched, if at all possible.
Yeah. I
also like to have the people who haven't done anything with the stuff we've written go ahead and actually be the ones to make the playtest characters. So because they go, what the fuck does this mean? I'm like, I don't know. That's a very good question. Maybe we should rewrite that paragraph. But all right, editing is fun. Savannah, you've done editing, I hear.
Oh, maybe just a little.
A little bit.
It was a very surreal moment for me. A friend passed along. Apparently, folks who do the Pokemon cards are hiring an editor.
Do it!
Oh. And I'm looking at all of the qualifications, and I'm like, oh man, usually it's like, oh, if you're not quite qualified, apply anyway, because you might have a chance. No, I'm qualified. Like, damn, that's my after show project.
Do it.
Our super backer for Miss Akuma does the manga translations. You know that, right?
I did not know this.
I can get him to write you like a little letter recommendation, probably in fucking Japanese if you want.
Ooh. It probably doesn't need to be in Japanese, but
yeah, I imagine you're working for the American side of the company.
Yeah, it's over in Bellevue, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, so cool. What is the next thing on this Kickstarter list?
Monsters of Feyland for 5th edition.
That's a Savannah thing. Is that a Savannah thing?
This is not a me thing.
Wow, I'm surprised it's not a you thing actually.
It looks like a me thing. Like, oh great.
Mike, is that a you thing?
I did add it. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we don't want to have more mystery people adding things to our outline.
No, it looks like a nice book. A lot of like classic sort of illustration, and
I really like that unicorn with the horrifying scimitar horn.
And I assume they're doing an offset print run, and that is why they need so much money. So I hope that they do well. But yeah.
And what is the last one on that list?
RPG. It is a set of enamel pins that look real nice.
Oh, okay.
RPG style. Oh yeah. Oh man, there's a mushroom man. And they all have dice in them. So like it's
that's cool.
A griffin like having a clutch of dice.
Nice.
Or a rust monster eating dice.
Kobold with a backpack of dice and a pick.
I'm detecting a dice theme here.
A mimic. Yeah.
There's a little beholder popping out of a D20.
Yes, I really want the
dragon. That's property of Wizard of the Coast. You can't touch that.
You can only see 6 smaller eyes and 1 bigger eye.
And it's not an beholder, it's a possessor or something.
I mean, it's 33% different enough. I think they can get away with it.
Maybe. All right, so do you want to move on to the final segment here where Dakota gets to talk about whatever the fuck he wants?
Talk about what you want.
Yeah. As long as it's not college sports.
Or testicular torture.
Hey, that was my topic, thank you.
I know it was. Anyway, Mike, here's the time code. Dakota, what do you got in your mind?
Oh man, all sorts of stuff all the time. PG-13.
PG-13.
Yeah, okay, appropriate stuff. That narrows it down.
I mean, are you sure considering the James Bond topic?
No, we're not doing that again.
Okay, fine.
Let's see. So I'm just excited to be able to go outside again because last weekend I got 10 inches of snow, so that was fun.
Yep.
Um,
Where are you at? Not your home location. People can track you down or anything, but.
Oh yeah, no worries, man. I'm up in North Dakota. I tickle Canada. So
Okay. Full stop.
Full stop.
You're living in Dakota, and your name is Dakota Krout. This isn't some elaborate fucking ruse or something.
I mean, as someone who's also has a geographically inclined name, trust me, I'm sure he's heard it.
All right.
Yeah, Savannah, you
I'll
moved
give
to
this Savannah credit.
I am not moving to Georgia, damn it. Yeah, I guess there's also Ohio. No, not Idaho? Something. I don't know. There's not a Broadway street in Savannah, Georgia. I'm not going there. It's not happening.
Let's say I have never been to Scotland.
All right.
Or Mike.
I remain slightly suspicious, but continue to.
Dakota, quick, run! They figured out you're a reptilian.
More like a mole man, dude, because like seeing sunlight is kind of a new thing for me.
I know.
But yeah, so I'm actually on paternity leave right now. So for me, writing has really picked up the pace. So I get to hang out with my daughter all day, and whenever she's asleep, I get to write. And it's actually helped me increase my writing speed because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this before she gets up. I need to get this chapter done. Go. So I call her my little deadline.
It's a term of endearment, I'm sure.
Very much so. Sheesh. Yeah, man. But books are coming along really nicely. I've been a lot of companies have been reaching out to me actually to try and publish my books, so that's kind of cool.
That's awesome. That's big.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm actually turning most of them down.
You have a good relationship with your current publisher, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I have a really good relationship with my current publisher. And everyone else is like super hesitant to talk like terms and stuff without like a contract on the table.
That's BS.
So yeah, so it's really it really makes it difficult to be like, yeah, man, I want to work with you if you're not giving me any information. Yeah, because I mean that's what I do. I'm all about information. I'm a programmer. By day, but by night. And
are you Batman? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, I might as well be though. For how much?
Let's say we've never seen Dakota and Batman in the same room at the same time.
You're not wrong.
More like Spider-Man because broke all the time. That one.
Relatable.
Welcome to writing. Period. Doesn't matter.
You should get like a little Spider-Man face mask and become Spider Dad, and then just follow your family around with zingers, just like all day.
That's terrible.
So Dakota, do we want to spill the beans on what I'm working on?
Yeah, please, yes.
So I kind of messaged Dakota like, hey man, I kind of like your stuff. I kind of do this thing over here with this company called Little Red Goblin Games, and do you want to like do something? And he was like, I'm having a kid. I'm having a kid, BRB, and I'm like, I'm moving, BRB. But eventually we talked for a bunch, and we didn't hate each other, it turns out. We're kind of working on a Pathfinder dungeon version of Cal. It's going to be based on the first two books. And we're literally pulling every monster from the book that we can find a stat block or find a reference or a name for. And we're trying to be as truthful to the books as possible. And having 3 other people go read over the book at the same with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm just like, well, I vaguely remember that. We're doing Cal in 3 different tiers, I believe.
Nice.
I think we're doing 3 different versions. I know the first version is going to be, and they're gonna be at different levels, so players can go ahead and come in at like I think it's 369. I have to look at my notes. And it's literally going to be here's the 3rd level version of Cal. Here's the 6th, and here's the 9th. So it'll be, and I think it's going to be on the floors. I don't know if we're getting the 3rd floor in there. I think the 3rd one may end up being the 2-floor version, but it might end up being the 3rd floor as well. I can't remember. The 3rd one is not as finalized as the first 2. The first dungeon is pretty well done. We pulled all the monsters and statted them up. And I sent them over to you for the first book. So yes, we have every Basher variant. Yes, we do. I promise. We even got Rail in there and everything.
what surprised me most was actually how well done you guys did the blood moss.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
It was. I mean, in the game, it is much more deadly than it was in my head. So
Yeah, I know.
really like
Well,
that.
the stats for it
I
are
was
like,
holy sheesh, man! Like, wow.
well,
I should.
the funny thing is like the way it interacts with the rules are like, well, this kind of sucks, and if you trip and fall into it, you are gonna hate your life.
Right.
Um,
Oh,
the Shroomish actually ended up giving us the hardest time because we're like, oh, it's a creature. It's not really. It's more like an. I don't know. It doesn't really reach the level of a creature, and oh yeah, that's right. It heals the wound as it goes up, and that is terrifying in D&D terms. It almost works like cursed wounds. Oh god. All right, we're doing it. So there's like this really low tier, like if you step on this caltrop creature, you basically get screwed with cursed wounds, and it is very
Good.
nasty.
Good.
Yeah, but I mean,
Bunch of
it's
chat questions. So
I'm really
first of
looking.
all,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
who is your publisher, your main product, like fiction?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'm self-published.
Okay, that's what the person in chat thought.
So,
and then
except for the
audiobooks.
The audiobooks, yep. So
Okay.
I was picked up by Tantor for the first books, and they're very, very happy with me. So, yeah, we're doing well on that. 12,000 reviews and climbing daily.
Wow.
So
that's actually how I found it.
oh, nice.
That's I listen to audiobooks 24/7. So
Sweet, dude. Well, I'm really glad you stumbled onto mine because I like this conversation a lot.
I ended up with I was on a lit RPG kick, honestly, and I think it was recommended. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool.
Thank you.
And we had actually written something about a living dungeon about 6 months before I read the book, and I'm like, all right, I like this.
Awesome. Yeah, man, it's just the coolest stuff. Like, just I mean, you know, there's just being able to like talk to you guys like this. This is just super cool.
Yeah, that's the whole point of our show is because we
Right.
never just get to sit and talk about RPGs with our peers because we're too busy working.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we all live scattered all over the country.
Yeah,
This
That
is
too.
legitimately a tax write-off for me right now. So
nice.
Oh,
The,
well, there we
one of the
go.
cool
How
things.
do cultivation ranks work?
Okay,
What
so
the fuck are cultivation ranks?
so that's actually what I was
I
about to talk
assume this
about.
is how the dungeon accumulates power in a given.
It's actually
region?
kind of like the setting every character. It's it's how the setting works. We are not touching that right now. This is going to be a straight conversion for Pathfinder.
Yep.
We actually mention how some of the bashers, their subtypes, how they get subtypes based that are some of the existing ones, because there are the elemental ones, but unfortunately Celestial and Infernal don't translate super well over to Pathfinder because they're literally good and literally evil, which is not really how that's represented in that world. But I know we've talked about in the future if this sells well and everything, going a little deeper. I would love I've had all my designers go, can we do the cultivation stuff now? And I'm like, not yet. Let's see how this goes. But trust me, they have notes on it. Especially, I think it'd be interesting. I actually already wrote up notes on how to acquire certain laws would be very fun. Because that would be a very fun way of, all right, resist this law, make a will save. Oh God, I don't want this law.
failed.
You wanted a little bit. You wanted a little bit. Oh, I do want this law a little bit. It wants you a lot of it. But yeah, we actually. So unfortunately, we have to kind of skirt some of that a little bit right now. We are. Trust
we'll
me,
get there.
let's say we're salivating at the prospect of doing it, but let's see how this goes. And I think honestly, the best way of doing it is Pathfinder is kind of at this point, and Pathfinder 2 is right here. And if we released it right before Pathfinder 2 started, it would not do it justice. And that just gives us some time to work on it, honestly.
Yeah, everybody's closing up their Pathfinder shops and waiting for the winter to finish.
Yeah. But no, it's working. I have to get my guys to sit down and read books, which is not. I just went ahead and like, it's a work day. Go read this book. And for one of them, they're like, fine. And then they were like, this is good. Why? I'm like, keep reading.
Yes.
But one of them, the fun thing is Ian, my editor, he just got let go, but he used to work at which is the one that's still in existence, Borders of Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, he used to work at Barnes and Noble, so he literally got to like read all these books all day, and he was like, and he's like, and I think he's on a lit RPG kick now. So that's kind of fun.
Awesome, dude.
But yeah, what else you got?
Yeah. I mean, if we were gonna talk more game mechanics there, I would definitely say that cultivation kind of translates into ranks,
Definitely.
or into levels, pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Because I set up most of what I do is set up with programming logic. So you start at 0 and you go up to 9, and then when you get to 10, it actually becomes the next ranking at 0. So it's like novice becomes beginner,
Yeah,
0.
yeah.
Beginner becomes student, becomes all this other fun
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Yeah, though, super fun books, super fun audiobooks, and I'm really hoping super fun game.
Me too.
So,
one of the things that
yeah.
always interested me is like that leveling up from one like whatever to mage ends up being oh, you go from 0 to like there's a big power jump there.
Right.
And,
it's a qualitative change.
Yes.
Which is like your power is directly on a different level, and they get essentially near physical immunity. Like they're immensely resistant to disease, to aging. You like basically need at least mana levels like a mage, so everyone else has essence levels. You need like at least 1 mana level to damage mana level creatures or people.
And you kind of see that in the books too.
Yeah. Because people just do stupid, crazy stuff. I mean, you can still take like falling damage. You jump off a mountain, it's gonna hurt or kill you depending on what your law is. If you have like feather fall or whatever. But then of course that's where spells come into effect. I really like the old school transitions from like Final Fantasy, if you guys remember. Like you would start out as like a base class, and then you could find the secret thing and become the next rank up. Like your thief becomes exactly, and then it higher and higher.
One of the things I thought was kind of interesting was that you don't just start out as a wizard. It kind of has it's a non-Vancian system, so it ends up with this like feels a bit kind of like mage rank. You're more avatar than you are Tolkien fantasy wizard.
Sure.
Because it's very transitional. Like you can still be the dude with the sword. In fact, you probably still are.
Probably are. Yep. I mean, if you're a good swordsman, you probably want to stick with the sword. Just because essentially what the mages do is they're enforcing they're imposing their will on the world.
Via their law.
So like people do chants and stuff mainly to focus their power more generally, or like expand it more.
And we see that with the goblins. Yeah.
So pretty much how it works is if you're a rank above someone, like so say you're like F rank, then I think it goes straight up to D because I use the E as an echo rank. It's something in the books. But like if you're a rank above them, that means that you can handle like 10 of those guys a rank below you without breaking a sweat, something like that.
And then mage kicks it up to who cares?
It pretty much mage kicks it up to you can walk through them. Literally in one part of the book, a mage literally walks through a pile of bodies, like literally through them. Like he does not push them away. He goes through their bodies and just blood sprays everywhere. It's really fun. Yeah.
And some exalted vibes going on. I think.
The high rank, like the S rank, was it double S? Is that the highest? I think.
Well, that we've seen.
Okay. Spoiler.
Well, I mean, potentially. You don't know. In the third book, there's a guy that cultivates madness.
I remember.
And
OP as shit.
No one is at his current ranking, so no one can tell what his rank is. I know.
His rank is OP as hell, and it's kind of interesting to see like what.
Insane.
But yeah, it's instead of being like 1 to 20 and like you see in D&D terms, it kind of like instead of being like that scale that goes from like here kind of up, it kind of goes like that.
Plateauing.
It's steps, and then all of a sudden once you hit mage, it goes up, and then the mages have really big steps between them. So.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Oh, anytime, man.
Yeah,
seriously,
definitely.
Anytime.
I'm sure we'll be talking. Are there any other questions in chat before we close up for the night?
How will Affinity Channels and the Chi Spiral be implemented?
Again, that's not something we can touch in this. Basically, this is a dungeon for Pathfinder based on Cal and all that stuff. So the
People interested should email Scott at
yeah, Scott Gladstein at littleredgoblingames.com. It's a really long one. Or you can send a message to our Facebook page. But yeah, if this sells well, we will definitely be exploring some of that stuff and a bigger product. I think we've mentioned that before, but trust me, we're taking notes on that stuff as we're doing this in case this goes well. I think it will. I think honestly it'll be great. We got Rui Fiera kind of ready to do the art, and I have to do designer art and go look at my pretty picture of what I think we should do, and Rui's gonna be like, what the fuck? No, I at one point was doing art for, I think it was Necropunk, and I did the artwork on sticky notes between calls or between emails at a job I was on. So I was literally just like sitting there, and they're like this stick figure with guy with gun, and he's just like, and my artist at the time was like, what is that even? Is it like, oh, sorry, it's upside down. Here you go.
No.
I couldn't tell. It's the same. He's doing a headstand.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yes,
Just throw it upside down. It'll be great. All right, yeah. So, thanks for coming on, man.
thanks for coming on the show.
Again, anytime.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thank you guys in Twitch for asking all the questions, and trust me,
We're here
taking notes
every
on that
week.
stuff. Yeah.
So come watch us babble about RPGs.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Very good time.
Generally. All right, guys. Have a nice
It's an
night.
acquired taste.
Oh yeah, we definitely are.
Yeah.
Or no direction.
Goblin taste.
Yep. Have
I
a
said
nice one.
got it.
Goblins.